another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke. We are. And I thought the last time was epidemic.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time? That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
It's locked, all right.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation. Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
How dare you steal from the dead, Rakesh? Is that what your pawnbrokers is really about?
These people are dead, sir. What they possessed could be useful for the living, and I'm sure they would agree if they could speak.
Whatever your motives, you're making money by stealing from the dead. Dr. Swansea should be informed.
No offense, sir, but Dr. Swansea is one of my customers. As I told you, I like to help people, and everybody needs help from time to time.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot. Damn it! Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir. How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year? You have the right to disapprove of our methods, and you will kindly apologize when you're feeling better. I will not let you down, my boy. Good evening, sir. I'm so tired. Will this shift never end? You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me,
This hospital seems to be
blundering
really
idiot.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
We have some of the most...
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
What a blundering idiot.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension, not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
I'm all right.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
I know you're taking drugs, Corcoran. Why take such a risk?
I need it to endure the long shifts. We have no idea how long the epidemic will last. We can't let it win.
I understand the gesture, Doctor. An immediate answer to an emergency situation, but this can't be a long-term solution.
Thank you for your understanding, my dear colleague. And be assured, I have total control of my consumption.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Last thing our patients need.
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
It's locked.
Good evening, Doctor.
Don't waste.
How is my son doing?
Your son asked me to find this letter, Mrs. Goswick. However, I thought it would be preferable to give it to you.
I already know what I'm going to read. Mortimer, why are you acting in this way? I have done everything I can to help you, but it's not enough.
We will talk about this letter later. I understand that you need some privacy.
Before you leave, take this for your trouble. Thanks to you, my son still has a future. Perhaps.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
You realize your son could try to kill himself again. He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Down, my boy.
So Priwen never left Doris's theatre after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters. Doris Fletcher was about to become a disaster. I'm getting close to having all the evidence.
Keep an eye on each other.
He's mine!
There's one of them vermin!
Turn around, sir. Oh! I'm talking to you, you twat! You're mine!
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. Blood of a pure heart, garlic, blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind. It's locked. Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Geoffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke Hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the Skull epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
I put him in a somewhat delicate position when I made him an immortal.
Really? Are you sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell.
The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, they tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
I trust you, Edgar, but the Guard of Priwen is onto something.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
Why would the Guard of Priwen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic?
Maybe due to our profession? Because I offered you shelter in my hospital.
What can you tell me about William Marshall?
Not much. History paints the story he was the greatest knight who ever lived. Amongst the immortals, he had a yet greater legend.
Why is the Guard of Priwen so obsessed with him?
He was the only ancient vampire to escape the first great hunt launched by the Guard of Priwen in 1854. They believe he's an evil creature plotting his return.
Why would he deserve such a reputation?
I cannot say. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has next to no intelligence on him. All I know is that he's supposed to be the oldest of all the British vampires.
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes. The terrible episode that came as a shock to us all.
Harriet Jones faked her own death. When I found her in the sewers, she confessed she wanted everybody to pay for what happened to her.
That woman was extremely bitter, full of hatred and festering anger.
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke Hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theatre. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met Miss Fletcher once when she visited the Pembroke Hospital. You say it was to see her mother. She seemed like such a sweet and graceful woman.
My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother. A symptom of all the infected patients.
Certain diseases are known to produce similar effects. Rabies, for example. And rabies is not the devil at work.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
Right, I admit it. I boldly ventured into experimental realms, but I've killed no one to appease my thirst for knowledge, Jonathan. I'm no murderer.
I never asked to become what I am, Edgar. You chose to conduct your rogue experiments.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.
Enough!
cannot be defeated.
It smells like rotten meat. Swamp near. I know it.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
Don't forget to check every door.
We cannot be defeated.
I have this thirst for blood.
Remember your boys, friends.
This is despicable.
Have no fear. Have no fear, brothers.
It's locked, all right. Return at a more convenient time.
Don't forget to check every door. It smells like rotten meat. One's near. I know it. We cannot be.
At a more convenient time. So Harriet Jones became the original carrier when Edgar gave her vampire blood. I must tell Elizabeth.
Watch out!
Filthy piece of shit!
Mr. Bates.
Evening, Doctor.
Since I took an oath to help people, can I be of assistance?
Well, seen better days, that's for sure. But it was bound to happen with all these refugees about.
Infecting you is probably the last thing on these people's minds. Take this, in any case.
What? You give me this for free? Don't have a clue about this place, do you?
Have you heard anything about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
Not really.
A man such as yourself, knee-deep in the muck of Whitechapel, must know more. Speak now.
Heard it closed after the owners died. Refugees don't want to come to Whitechapel no more. Scared, I hear.
You sound disappointed.
As long as she was there at the dispensary, it attracted more immigrants and kept my place full. Such a shame.
How are conditions in Whitechapel at present?
The way this sickness is spreading, I don't think there'll be enough new bloods to replace those tenants I'm losing from this bloody thing.
Goodbye, Mr. Bates.
So you only hurt people because you care about me? Is that it?
Don't be such a brat. I'll do what I must to provide us with food and medicine, that's all.
Mum would never have let you bully an old friend like Mr. Lewis. Shame on you.
Harry, I'm your father and I love you. But don't you ever speak to me like that again.
What? You're gonna beat me too?
Jesus. Give me patience.
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
Your disciple, Samuel, stole from the dead in Stonebridge Cemetery. I have proof of his crime and proof of his death.
No! Samuel was the best of us. So devoted, so zealous. He gave all he had for the cause. He tirelessly preached the good word.
He defiled the dead with his petty thefts. That's how he financed your misguided crusade.
Think what you will. When this city is saved, he will be praised for his devoted fortitude. He walked boldly into the mouth of abomination.
Your precious Samuel used you. He was an immoral crook.
If that's true, then he will be my burden to bear during this endless night.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
There is no protection against malevolence and trickery. Imprisoned by your daily routine, unable to see the true horror around you.
Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle. Pay me a bottle and I'll be... I'm cheap and I'm You look so pale, my lord. Would you like me to revive you? I'm cheap and I'm
You still want more from Christina?
When we spent the night together, my wallet went missing.
Are you calling me a thief? I don't have your stupid wallet.
I know you. You're a nice girl. Can't we solve this amicably?
No, I don't think so. And if you think you know me just because we share the bed together, you're just a lousy and arrogant journalist.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Tell me, Clayton, do you really think this young woman stole your wallet?
Christina. Yes. I recently met her. A nice girl, despite her questionable conduct.
How exactly did you meet Christina?
During my investigation, I offered my hotel room to her to rest and get away from the street.
And what happened?
The next morning, my wallet and my watch had disappeared. I suppose that's what you get for being a good Samaritan.
If you are going to sleep with a lady of the night, Clayton, I would advise you to be cautious.
I can't really be mad at her, though. She's just trying to survive. She doesn't have many options.
Was it wise to become so intimate with a woman you were supposed to interview, Clayton?
Maybe it was. But I have learned to look for the inner truth and beauty in people.
I know more than enough to understand your situation. For a reporter, you certainly lack impartiality.
I would have expected more open-mindedness from an educated man like you, Dr. Reed. If you have no further wisdom to impart, I shall take leave.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
You look so pale, my lord.
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Did you steal Clayton Darby's wallet? Tell me the truth, Christina.
Of course I stole it. But I never thought he would come back to look for it.
Why did you do it? He seems to trust you.
For a time I thought he was different from other men. In the end, he just wanted to sleep with me. Same as the others.
Perhaps Clayton is different. Maybe you two should talk. A conversation couldn't hurt.
I know what I am and what people call me. I sleep with men for money. If I can accept that, why can't he? No. My future is with the ones I love, not with Clayton Darby.
The ones you love? The money you stole is not for you, then?
My brother is still in our hometown in Romania. I am the only one who can buy him a ticket to England.
Tell me, Christina, is it worth risking your health and your life for your brother's safety?
He's the only family I have left. I had to leave Romania without him. I can't be happy until he is near me again.
I understand your concern. I spent many months away from my family when I served on the front line in France.
Every time I write to him, I fear I won't receive an answer. It kills me to know he is still there.
England is perhaps not the best place in the world to live at the present time. Are you certain it's worth the sacrifice?
You think you know it all because you fought in the war. But my brother is no soldier.
I know. We all understand the risks to soldiers, but we don't necessarily recognize the civilian casualties caused by these conflicts.
Yes, wars are decided by rich men who will never take the risk of being shot, raped, or maimed.
Does your brother know what you do to earn the money to bring him here?
Don't be simple, of course not. And he must never know. Everything will be different once he is here with me.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
You again? What do you want this time?
Why is your relationship with your son so difficult?
Harry and I are so different. Sometimes I wonder if he's my own blood. Seems he's ashamed to be my son.
Why not change that then? If you used your strength to do good, perhaps Harry wouldn't feel that way about you.
How dare you tell me what I should or shouldn't do with my boy? Who the fuck are you to interfere like that?
You're a bad father who scares his son and his neighbors, Mr. Peterson.
I don't think I like your attitude, sir. In fact, I'm starting to dislike your face so much, I might try to improve it, see?
I'd like to see you try, Colossus Joe. In the meantime, are you sure I can't be of any help to your son? I am a doctor, remember?
Never. Harry's complicated. Fragile, you could say. Doesn't mingle with strangers. Now leave us alone.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
No, please, I don't have your money.
Come on, Barrett, you know the game. You pay for peace of mind. Can't you just look me
Good
up
evening,
like
Harry.
a sweet Joe?
May I come in?
Sure. Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
You and your father have a difficult relationship, Harry. Tell me, did he ever hurt you?
No, never. My father can be brutal and rude, violent even. But he never touched an hair on my head.
What is going on between you two then?
It's his job, if you can call it a job. He bullies people. Men and women we know, like poor Mr. Lewis. It's just not right.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
get some work in. Everything will be up.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again. Its effectiveness has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial. The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Where is it? I'm sure I threw it in one of these barrels. Did someone find my stash?
So many people who could use my help here.
It's locked.
won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Wasted your life away.
Used to seeing death. I hope this feeling will disappear someday.
Ah, there it is. Harmonil for severe anxiety and nervous disposition. Thanks for nothing, old fart. I'll get a good price for your precious pills.
It's like I'm used to seeing death. I hope this feeling will disappear someday.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy, all right? Now piss off.
Why did you try to steal your father's medication?
Why shouldn't I? What has he ever done to earn my respect?
Your father seems to hold quite a grudge against you.
Man's a walking gin bottle. I ain't seen him sober since he got back from the war. But the gun, now that is a surprise.
It is clear that you have a somewhat contentious relationship with your father.
Oh, really? Nothing clever to say?
He's an alcoholic. That must make life difficult.
Oh, no, it's perfectly fine. No money, no home, no friends to lend a hand. My father should have died in France.
War can change you. I have seen many men who have lost their wits on the battlefield.
I'm not going to lose any more time with that drunken arse. Me? I prefer to take my chances with the wet boot boys.
Why do you want to join a gang, Albert?
I'm not going to spend the rest of my life sleeping under bridges.
I understand that living in poverty may be a doorway to a life of crime.
but you are still young enough to turn back.
I'm not a child anymore. I'm old enough to do what needs to be done.
Yes, Albert. You're old enough for the death penalty.
So what? A good life and a quick death, that's all I want.
Goodbye, young man. Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
Your suspicions concerning Albert were legitimate, but were you sure he was guilty when you shot him? Tell me the truth, Benjamin.
No, I wasn't. I just went mad without realizing what I was doing. My God. I almost shot him.
You had better speak to Albert. You need to clear the air. He has to understand what you endured, and you must listen to him talk about his pain.
I'm afraid it's too late. I pointed a gun at him for the sake of a few pills.
Did you know of your son's plans to join the Wet Boot Boys gang?
Barely survived the war, just to come back and see my wife die of the flu, and my son turn into a petty thug.
Albert is old enough to make his own mistakes, don't you think? To forbid him will only encourage him to join them.
Yeah, my Albert's as tough and stubborn as his old man. Apple didn't fall far from the tree.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Goodbye, Miss Swanborough. Perhaps we'll talk again.
Scum turned criminal.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith.
Maybe it's time to see if this...
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
Best be moving on.
I'd head back if I were you. Over there! There's one of those vermin. God walks with me. Easy does it, boys. We can deal with this. This is now my domain, young Ekon.
All right, time to make some more of that miracle stew. Where is the burner? Ouch! Oh, shit! Ow! Oh, shit, no more chlorine. Well, the next batch will be a little less miraculous, that's all.
Good evening, Mr. Swanborough.
Is it you, Dr. Reed? Please come in. Tell me, how do you see the world these days? What can I do for you, Doctor?
Is your sister using you and your skills for her own profit?
I've lost my sight, not my wits. Loretta couldn't manipulate me in a million years.
Are you sure about that? You clearly depend on her.
Let me be perfectly clear. I came up with the idea of the Swanborough cordial. Loretta needs me more than I need her.
So did you decide not to take the experimental cure for blindness?
Oh no, I have. For a few hours.
But you are still... What do you mean? I don't understand.
I saw the world again, Dr. Reed. For a few hours I witnessed how ugly and sad and tragic this city is.
I'm sorry the effect didn't last.
You don't get it, do you? I crafted a new formula that made me blind again. The world is a cesspool, Dr. Reed, and I don't want to look at it.
Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough. I'll leave you now.
Wandering in this part of town at night. You're either brave or a fool. What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour?